everyone, I'm Victoria and I'm here with another Top 5 Wednesday. What's Top 5 Wednesday? It's a Goodreads group started by Lainey from Ginger Reads Lainey and is now moderated by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. As always, links down in the description. So this week's topic are our top 5 books with no romance. Woo! This was definitely a challenge for me. Y'all know I like a little bit or a lot of romance in my books, and so coming up with 5 books that I really enjoyed that had little to no romance was a huge challenge. But I did it, I combed through, and I was able to find some, so let's dive right in, shall we? The first book that we have is Thick as Thieves by Megan Whalen Turner. This is the latest book in the Queen's Thief series, but it can be read as a standalone. I wouldn't really recommend it because the other books are so fantastic. But again, this can be read as a standalone. It's more of a companion novel than anything. This is the story of Comet, who is a slave in the Mede Empire, and he is rescued by an Anatolian soldier, and it's the story of their escape through the empire and trying to make their way to freedom. Again, this doesn't have any romance. It is a fantastic story of preconceived notions about a people and finding yourself while fleeing from oppression and what it means to be free and what it means to be enslaved. And I really, really love this. There's a deep friendship that is formed in this, and it's wonderful to be able to see that kind of develop and unfold. As for the rest of the series, there is a smidgen of romance, particularly in the second book, but it's so subtle. It's kind of like blink and you'll miss it. So overall, if you want an excellent YA fantasy series that is mature and really does not hold the reader's hand, I would suggest this, especially if you don't want something that's super romance heavy. There's no love triangles, there's no kind of stuff like that. Again, it's all about the plot and the characters. Next, I have His Majesty's Dragon by Naomi Novik. This is the first in the Temeraire series. Essentially what it is it's Regency England mashed up with dragons. This is such an awesome book. I loved it. I gave it 4 out of 5 and I highly recommend it. I have read just the first book in this, and the only thing we have is the main character sleeps with another character, but I wouldn't really call that romance. It's just more like of a fun time kind of a thing. I don't know if that develops in further books, again, because I haven't read on the series, but in this I would say that there's no romance present. But what we do have is an amazing connection between our protagonist, Vincent, and the dragon that he is bonded with, Temeraire. To see their relationship develop is just amazing. It's just, I can't even begin to describe how wonderful it is. They're just so cute together. I wish I had my own dragon. Also, added onto that is you have amazing battles during Regency England. This is the Napoleonic War. And so there are these amazing battles between the French, both with ships and then of course aerial battles because, well, dragons. And so I definitely recommend this. As I said, there is basically no romance in this. So if you want something that is fun, action, adventure packed and has this wonderful friendship and relationship between a dragon and his bonded rider, then I would suggest this. Next up, for my top 5 books that have no romance in it, I'm going to say the first 3 books in the Immortals series by Tamara Pierce. So this follows a young girl named Dane in a fantastical land, and in this land people have magic, but Dane has a special kind of magic. She has wild magic, which allows her to talk to animals and do other kind of things that you get to see throughout the series. So the first 3 of these have no romance in it. There may be some hints at some feelings, sort of, but it's very, very subtle. And overall, these books focus on Dane coming into her powers and her relationship with various animals. I loved all of these. I gave these 4 out of 5 stars and would definitely recommend them. There is also the 4th book in this, and this does feature just a teensy weensy little bit of romance. Again, it is not the main plot of this. It's just something very, very subtle and off to the side. I didn't like this as much as the first 3. I gave this 3 out of 5, but I definitely recommend, again, these first 3 if you are looking for something that has no romance, but has a whole lot of heart and story. Then we have The Curse of Chalian by Lois McMaster Bujold. This is an adult high fantasy novel. It can be read as a standalone, though it is part of a series which follows different protagonists, I believe. I haven't read the rest of them. But in this one, we follow a protagonist that's a little bit different. His name is Kazarl, and he is sort of a broken man. He's a war veteran, and he's 35, which is a little bit older than some protagonists of other fantasy novels, though it's not old. I know what you're thinking, it's not old. And it's wonderful because this is kind of a slow burn, a slow build, and we really get to see his character and witness him sort of not coming back to life, but trying to regaining his sense of purpose and regaining his self-confidence. So I love this book. Again, it is a slow build, a slow burn. There is a teensy weensy bit of romance between him and another person, but it's very small. It's, again, one of those kind of like blink and you'll miss it. It is not a major plot point at all. So this is a great novel. Again, if you kind of just don't want to be drowned in romance and love, this is more focusing on the characters, their development, and again, his coming back into his own. And I did give this 5 out of 5 stars, so definitely would recommend. Last but not least, we have The Beekeepers Apprentice by Lori R. King. So in this, we follow Mary Russell, who is a young girl, when she stumbles upon Sherlock Holmes. So in this story, Sherlock Holmes has been retired. He's almost reached the status of myth. A lot of people don't even realize that he is a real person. And she comes across him, and this is kind of how their friendship forms and how she becomes essentially his apprentice. There is a little bit of romance in like the next book, but again, it is very, very subtle, and in this one there is none at all. This is merely the story of how they become friends and how she starts to think like him. It's just wonderful to see. Mary Russell is very much a Sherlock Holmes in female form, and it's fantastic to see how two similar minds kind of work off of each other, and I just absolutely love this series as a whole, and specifically this first book. So definitely recommend if you want something that is smart, that is well written, that has no romance, and has wonderful mysteries in it. So those are my top 5 books with little to no romance. Let me know if you have read any of them. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on those. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done already, please subscribe. Thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye!